UPSC has started drafting the paper in such a way that it is demanding conceptual clarity.
I believe we can say this is history plus biology plus social science.
Ma'am, I don't have a biology background. Can I do it?
Relating it to the society, which is evolving, right? Culture, which is evolving.
Or they have to grind themselves to get an understanding of the context of the topic.
Somebody who's starting as a beginner, what would be your opinion to them in the first place? Hello students, welcome to Forum IS, and today I'm again with you with a new podcast on the new optional with Priya Ma'am this time. And today we are going to discuss everything जो students आजकल पूछते हैं, those who are starting, those who are stuck, or those who are thinking that I can do something extra to the optional for the preparation. So let us start today. So the very first thing, what connects you to anthropology?
Thank you, Apurva. Thank you so much. So yes, we'll be talking about anthropology from every facet concerned. With respect to the mentorship sessions that we have here at Forum, we get a lot of queries ranging from how to begin the preparation till a score enhancement. That is one of the biggest challenges lately with anthropology. So yes, I have always had a deep connection with anthropology, though I had a background with biotechnology. So therefore, the trust with genetic engineering, biotechnology always had me in the loop of, human genomics, genetics, applied genetics. So I got interested towards studying human evolution. And in one way or the other, anthropology became even more interesting because it weaves culture, society, archaeology into it. So from a UPSC perspective also, it became very useful for me.
Okay. Being a faculty of UPSC, we see students, the very first thing, we also tell them dive into the syllabus first and then you decide things, right?
Yes.
Acha, don't you think there's a tug of war between this cultural perspective, like anthropology is all about kinship, marriage, and there is all biology,
yes,
right? Origin. So what do you think, which part, in your opinion, till date, you have found students struggling with?
Yes, there are students from different walks of life. When they look at anthropology as a subject, they want to know whether they'll be able to ace it or not. So somebody will come and say, ma'am, I don't have a biology background. Can I do it? But the other person would say, I don't have a society background. I'm not an art student. So how can I memorize things? Mujhe ratna nahi aata hai. This is like one of the most common phrases used by students of physics, chemistry. So at the end, I always tell them that anthropology is beautifully fragmented into subparts.
Okay.
And therefore, if one student is good at one part, they'll automatically have an edge over the other parts.
Exactly.
So therefore, it's like a beautiful mix of archaeology, biology, culture, and tribal India. Okay. And therefore, we could derive most benefit out of it by interlinking it with our GS counterpart subjects as well.
Okay.
Yes. So there needs to be no background, so to speak. Because anyways, when you're attempting UPSC, you're already having a bandwagon of subjects which are related to arts.
Exactly.
So therefore, anthropology is part science, part humanities.
And if I, as much as I, as a faculty of history, getting into anthropology, I believe we can say this is history plus biology plus social science. Can we say, whenever you see any of the questions, like demands of UPSC have been changing, right? And anthropology is a quite new subject in trend, in terms of trend, right? Previously, people used to take history, geography, like all those who were engineer used to take geography, and those who are from history were keen enough, oriented towards the history portion. Political science and international relations is one of the. But now that we have been seeing a trend that those who are not gaining very good score, like there was this time when people were not scoring very good in history, public administration, geography, there was scaling and all, right? So then they hop on to these kind of subjects like sociology, anthropology. What is their mindset in your?
So when we look at it from an examination perspective, as an aspirant ourselves, we also wanted to benefit the most out of the most scoring subject out there.
Exactly.
So the first criteria anybody would objectively look for was किस सब्जेक्ट में मार्क्स आ रहे हैं.
Okay.
That used to be one of the criteria. And the second most important one was I would have to spend 1 to 2 years with the subject. So therefore, interest building in the subject also became a very indelible component of choosing an optional.
Exactly.
So therefore, I think there has been a shifting trend in the last 15 years from the traditional subjects towards these new ones. And right now, as per UPSC database also, anthropology, sociology and PSIR happen to be the most common optionals.
Yeah.
And therefore, this is also reinforcing the fact that while the marks are there, while it's a scoring subject, we need to extract the most benefit out of it. Yeah.
So one very an area, this question related to your thing only. You said like student they think of scoring subjects.
Yes.
Acha, just tell me, it was a time when history used to score. They used to score good.
Yes.
So what exactly changes? Is the material or is the way of tackling the subject?
Yeah.
So there may be a time when anthropology may not be scoring very good.
Yes, that is
So what change as a teacher you make to this?
In the last, even in the last 8 years, if you say, Apurva, anthropology has become a bit difficult to score.
Okay.
Yes, earlier, if you look at the paper of 2018-19, everybody would be so happy that everything is very straightforward and
Yeah.
answer writing becomes very easy.
And there are certain teachers who they give 40-50 question in paper 2 of anthropology and they
Yes.
say कि इससे ही आता
आ
है.
जाएगा, हाँ.
Right.
So that sense of confidence was from the paper trend back then.
अच्छा.
But now, as the competition has increased, UPSC has started drafting the paper in such a way that it is demanding conceptual clarity. So unless a student has gone through, let's say, the classic textbook reading, or they have to grind themselves to get an understanding of the context of the topic.
Okay.
Otherwise, if there is any question that is off-road from the mainstream questions, the students get in a dilemma in the examination that okay, this question is out of syllabus.
Okay.
That context is emerging.
Okay.
Having said this, still 75% of the paper can be tackled with respect to conceptual clarity from each of the subparts like biology, archaeology, society, and that 25% component is going to be at your will, at your dedication, at your comfortability to develop a genuine interest in the subject.
Okay.
So therefore, the nature of the question here have also changed, and
Okay.
the peak score has also been dropping. Yes. So that has already it has started with anthropology.
Okay, we can see the syllabus is which is provided by UPSC is something which whatever you see is actually not
Yes.
what is there to be in the examination. And looking at subject like anthropology, relating it to the society, which is evolving, right? Culture, which is evolving,
Right.
There is a concept like cultural relativism.
Yes.
But the idea of cultural relativism, I think, is it changing day to day?
Yes.
So what dynamic area and how to handle that dynamic area in answer writing,
Right.
which is actually everyone's question.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, when it comes to tackling dynamic areas, like you pointed out very clearly, society is also a dynamic component.
Yes.
Today we are talking about single parent families, which might ideally not fit in a classic definition of family which was given by, let's say, Murdoch. Now, because the times are changing, the society is changing, therefore these kind of areas become very important. In fact, UPSC has asked a question earlier that where do you situate live-in relationships in the institution of family?
Exactly.
So they have already asked this question. So yes, the element of dynamicity is there, and we have to be very aware of how the society around us is changing and what is our take on that.
Okay.
For example, you can quote studies from UN where they have found that there is no difference in child rearing practices or the impact on child development if the child is reared by 2 men or 2 women or a heterosexual couple.
Yes.
So these kind of studies are again pushing us to the basic framework that child needs 2 loving parents, or let's say 1 loving parent, whatever he or she has. But then these concepts have to be interpreted from an anthropological perspective.
So anthropology needs psychology as well to be a part of that.
Yes, a bit of, we have culture and personality school as well, which uses psychological techniques to understand the personality types of particular culture. culture. So that element is already there. But yes, societal dynamics like dowry deaths, we had an incident day before yesterday. So we have to keep on connecting that how in ancient tribal societies there used to be an institution of bride price.
Exactly.
That because the girl used to be a bread earner in the family. So in a horticulturalist society, even today, women work a lot.
Yes.
So therefore, when a marriage was proposed, it was seen that you are taking away the breadwinner. So you have to pay bride price if you want to get married to her.
Yes.
Now, eventually, as we move from tribal societies to more settled societies, like we call today's modern societies, more sedentary ones. So, women, even today, you will see more in the upper middle class segment, prefer not to work after a particular period of time because of the the compatibility that they have to bring with child rearing and other responsibilities. Right. So, therefore, when society changed into a feudal system or a capitalist system, even in the United States, in the West, we saw there was a struggle for women to go and work out there.
Exactly.
So the institution of bride price got replaced by dowry.
Okay.
That my girl is not a breadwinner in my family. So if tomorrow somebody wants to marry her, the father is paying a requisite amount to the groom. So how we have come from an institution called bride price to dowry system, so that in itself has been a significant change, which we study in anthropology.
Which I believe can take on a roller coaster ride to a student in terms of answer writing.
Yes.
So there should not be only one way. It should be a
multifaceted process, and interlinking is very important.
It is indeed.
Where we have to know that how, as a cultural relativist society, we have traveled. How much relativism is allowed.
Exactly.
For example, not sending a kid to school, is it relativism or it's a human right violation?
Exactly.
So there is a topic in anthropology where we talk about drawing the line between cultural relativism and human right violation.
Human right violations.
So we have to think from that perspective.
That is
how
indeed.
much is relativistic, how much is allowed.
Okay. So coming to the dynamic area, like using current affair into the answers. Just I wanted to know, like, that there are human right perspectives. So whatever idea of human right in terms of documentation available with us, is it directly applied into the answers?
Yes, generally we use what we call as case study in our answers to supplement your answer. Basically, if I'm writing an answer on society, let's say, I will use a case study which has been published in a journal or in an article, in any kind of a magazine. And a case study is always a detailed presentation of the issue in question. For example, let's say there is a tribe in Middle East who do not believe that their children need to go to school because all the skills that are needed to survive in that environment will be provided by the parents.
And these days, homeschooling have been promoted as well in the modern society.
Yes. So see how we are connecting over there.
Exactly.
So forming of interconnectedness is very important, and the dynamic areas are even more common in paper 2. Especially with the tribal India part.
Okay.
And for that, I'll request the students to actually go through the Ministry of Tribal Affairs report, which is published every year by the ministry itself.
It is as good as ARC we use there, and we use this report over there.
In fact, I tell them that it's written by bureaucrats. Why don't you take your intros, conclusions, case studies from there?
Exactly.
Because people keep fighting that how should I start my answer? What should my intro look like? I have an inertia of starting to write an answer. So I would always tell them, read that report. A bureaucrat has been writing it, and it's a government mouthpiece. So it will give you positive case studies with respect to how successful, let's say, FRA has been, PISA has been. So it's not like we don't need to have a singular perspective that we are not doing enough, or Schedule 6 has some drawbacks, PISA has some drawbacks. That's true, but has it done certain positive contribution at the ground level?
The answer is all about balance.
Yes,
you're balancing the society. You are right. You are homeschooling to not sending them to school, or saying that that live-in relationships are good or not, but there are certain tribes where they
it's allowed.
It is allowed. They before the wedding only they go to the dormitories and all, and they live together, and you do.
Yes. So this was actually a point where this question came, and I was thinking that yes, the examiner had in mind this particular perspective, that there are multiple scholars who have studied marriage, and there are, let's say, 6 to 7 definitions.
Exactly.
We have Kathleen Go, we have Murdoch, we have different scholars, and we actually have studied case studies where this kind of marriages did exist. So in fact, in the conclusion to such answers, we usually write like this only, that it's not an alien concept to anthropology. We have been seeing it in earlier societies, and it's a phenomena of modern society.
Yes, it is as good as we are very centric toward our ethnicity. So we think that this is good or that's
this
not
is bad.
good.
Yes,
right.
yes.
So now I can see a very good idea of balancing current affair, balancing statics. So there must be different levels of student. Like as a beginner, they start with certain thing. Gradually they increase. So as a teacher, you must be very much responsible with certain things.
So as a beginner, the student will come and ask how to make my notes. And in the initial, they are very punctual, they are very true to their subject, and they will take 1 month to finish, let's say 2 units, and they'll come and show you the notes that, see, this is what I've prepared. And I would say, yes, it's very good. It's very good. But tell me, if I start doing this for every topic, every unit, it will take me up to 8 to 9 months.
And it will be very tough for them to take that to the examination center. Right.
Yes, and then revising becomes a challenge.
Exactly.
Because they'll come and say, I have made it 2,000 page ka notes. Then how do I consider?
How would you carry that 2,000 page ka notes?
After prelims, they'll say, should I make short notes out of it? I said, no. So again, you're going in the same
you have written a book, and then again you're rewriting that book.
Yes. Okay. So that is why, this is one of the most common struggles. The beginners face this, how to do note making. The second question is with respect to people who have been writing multiple mains, but the score is saturated. And they have an inertia of, let's say, ma'am, I'm not good at intro, I am not good at conclusions, I cannot do well in archaeology. Can I leave a topic called primates? They'll ask these questions, and that is where I say that when we already know that the 25% paper is going to be unpredictable or, let's say, new for you, why do you want to compromise on the 75% which is in front of you? And these topics happen to be very static topics, which, if given proper attention and time,
I believe there's this problem, this is blessing as well as disguise, that the student who they think that there's a very small syllabus, right? It is small syllabus. It is quite crisp, but it is very important to elaborate while you're studying it.
Yes. Right? Elaborate it and contextualize
and that is the key to score more improvement or score more. Right?
That is true.
Right. So they say diagrams and flow charts. Is there a scope for this?
Yes, there's a lot of scope of
tables and all.
Yes, with respect to tables and flow charts, you can use some component in society as well as in socio-cultural anthropology. And archaeology is all about maps and sites, so that's very good. And we have a unit called fossils 1.6 where we draw rudimentary skull diagrams highlighting different features.
You need to be Picasso for that?
No, you don't need to be. I always tell students that you just need to have a rough idea of what you're pointing out, but the labeling should be correct.
Should be correct.
Even if your skull, if your skull is not looking like a skull, but if you have written no brow ridges or prognathism, that feature should be clearly mentioned. It shouldn't be wrong.
Yes, that shows that it is a skull.
Yes. So more than art, it's like enhancing your answer with the concept and concern.
That is
a lot of diagrams and flowcharts are used.
So right now, that is as we have the next examination, the next somebody who's starting as a beginner. What would be your opinion to them in the first place? What should be the very first step to be taken towards anthropology?
Firstly, if you are a beginner, you have to study anthropological theories.
Okay.
Like every humanities subject has a theoretical base on which it has been built. And we have this in paper 1 unit 6. And most of the students watching this will already know this from me. I always tell them, study theories first. It seems very intimidating.
Exactly.
A number of, up to 15 scholars. How will I remember them? How will I recall them in the examination? But that happens to be the base of the discipline, which keeps coming back to you in the post discussions, after the subsequent units as well. So yes, beginning with theories with a classic textbook is very essential.
And what do you refer them as the classic one?
They can refer to History of Anthropological Thought by Upadhyay and Pandey. They can refer to Makhan Jha's book, or they can refer to Government of India Swayam platform has this E-Gyan Kosh and EPG Pathshala material that is also very good, very lucid, very simple in language and very easily understandable. And I always tell them that you spend 1 month with the theories and then you'll be comfortable with the entire subject.
So are the jargons which are anthropological jargons?
Yeah, actually, yes, Apurva, you'll agree to this that every subject has a vocabulary.
Exactly.
Right? So that vocabulary component is there with anthropology also.
So which you keep reading, you keep grasping with the
yes,
time, and then you present on the paper.
And that again reinstates why it is necessary to go back to reading basic material.
Exactly.
When you read books, you automatically start writing.
Which means again, I will say modules are not the option.
Yes, actually, say it's in bits and pieces. Like for socio-cultural part, you read a book. It's very good. For theories, you read a classic book. When it comes to genetics or fossils, archaeology, it's totally concept and information based. Now, see, if I ask you what is cell cycle, it will be the same in a classic book like Peanut or from encyclopedia, because it is a scientific concept. It is not going to change. So same is the case with genetic engineering, DNA fingerprinting, genetic imprinting. These are like conceptual
So
topics.
half of the part which belongs to the core scientific areas is going to as good as maths.
Yes, it's like that. It's very,
Presentation
if you know
is
the
like
concept,
that, yeah.
you write the answer.
But there, wherever you are facing the social system, right, then you need to relate, and plus that kind of presentation, the lucid presentation, the economy of words which you need to play with the paper or the answer, that helps. So here what we have learned today is basically those who are starting should be starting with what? Starting with the basics and theories. Apart from it, you need to incorporate current as well as the static portion, and most importantly, you should be writing a lot, which is actually good for everybody.
And I would add another component to this. Please do your PYQ writing. That will give you confidence.
That is very much required, I must say, for every subject, right? And associating your anthropology, having said that, you have this idea that anthropology is history plus biology
plus culture.
Culture. You can use it in essays.
Yes.
Definitely. You can use it in social
GS3.
justice paper, GS3, GS2,
Science
GS3, science and tech. And even though if you want to quote something good, you can, because UPSC answer writing is quite evolving every time, every day, in fact. So you can utilize into the paper one for a beautiful presentation of the answer. So true. And be open to those not so Picasso diagrams.
Simplistic diagrams. But with
well-labeled ones. And be ready to write a lot and learn a lot. Some people come with the mindset that I cannot cram.
Exactly.
But when I talk about ancient India, if I give you 5 sites of Paleolithic period, you have to learn them. You have to know the Acheulean tradition. You need to learn those tribes, name of the tribes, I must say.
Case studies.
Yes, case studies
that
and
has
all.
to be done.
And the case studies, how open you should be with the case studies? Like, is there any captivity of language?
No. Case study is nothing but a much elaborate example with the tribe under study, the place under study, and the author who studied it. So generally, I tell all the students to prepare themes. Like, let's say 3 examples on women education, 3 examples on development-induced displacement. So we already have 6 to 7 themes, and around that themes, if you have 2 case studies, you have a basket of 14, which is good to remember, like humanly possible to remember, and which can be taken to the examination hall as well. And there is no bracket on this. See, for example, Apurva, for development-induced displacement, even Narmada Bachao is true even today. Yes.
It happened a long time back ago. So you go from there till the present day issues, like what interlinking of what rivers is doing to the Kanha reserve. So you can quote national forest based displacement as well. And I believe whatever you study as a good newspaper reader, right? You need to incorporate
those
that particular
elements
to
that will help.
Answers.
Yes, that will help.
So that makes you happy as a faculty checking papers for CSE?
Yes, that actually gives a sense that the student is able to connect. And the more recent examples and case studies you mention, the more good you score.
Oh, that's good.
Because it gives a message to the examiner that we are open to what is happening around us. We are aware.
The subject is helping in the evolution.
Yes. So that is why even if you write Narmada Bachao, it's not wrong. But if you start your answer with more recent ones, it becomes more, it carries more weight in terms of
more powerful and intimidating, I must say, towards whatever you are. You should not be struggling with the
arguments in the answer.
Yes.
Basically.
So, do the final words if you like to convey to your students.
So, dear students, do not get fearful about the subject. Even if it is having certain diagrammatical components, it also has certain sociological components.
Exactly.
It's helping you in history, in science and technology. It's going to help you with your essay paper. So therefore, it is dynamic. Till now, also it is scoring, to say the least, because UPSC itself has been reiterating this. So the subject is not at all difficult, provided you start at the right time and you follow the right trajectory. For example, instead of making personalized notes for every section, you can filter out that if I'm from a biology background, I'll not make very, this kind of notes for biology section. I can read it, I can do it from the text, or I can practice diagrams.
Which means you need to be confident about whatever you have studied, and you need to be selective about things so that.
And even if somebody is new and they do not have a background on any of the subparts, it's not a threat.
Getting into biology, I get scared of the plant kingdom and animal kingdom entirely.
But that's not there.
That's not there.
That's not there. It's about basic cell biology, and then it's more about applied genetics and population genetics.
That's
like chromosomal aberrations, DNA fingerprinting. They know these questions repeat every year. So
PYQ plays a role.
It's very important.
Yes, indeed.
It's very important.
And to write more and more.
Yes.
And to stay confident.
Stay confident and start early. If you have that apprehension, that this subject is not relatable, I would say starting early is the best. So that will bring you in tune with the subject. And yes, whenever anybody starts reading a new subject, it feels like a lot of bombardment, information overload. And that will be true for this subject also. So I would request you to revise 2 to 3 times. And that is when things actually start getting into your head.
It is always good to have 2 or 3, 2-3 बार राब्ता हो जाए, तो that is the best thing. आप बार-बार मिलते हो किसी से तो ज़्यादा बेहतर जानते हो.
Right.
So that's how it go. Thank you so much for sharing such enriching things.
Yes, so it was a two-way communication. So we were actually discussing
I knew
about anthropology.
least about anthropology, but yes, definitely I had these kind of questions in my mind that, okay, so whether the schemes to be written into the answer, yes, they can be into the case studies.
Yes,
okay.
They can be
so to the students, work hard and stay smiling, stay healthy. Signing off.
All the best, everybody.
All the best.